Texas passes new bill combating the CCP's forced organ harvesting and organ tourism. Russian diplomat visits China as Putin faces threats at home. Internal purge? More than 60 finance officials were fired within 6 months. Many young Chinese get shingles after COVID. The number of moderate and severe patients increases. Random leftover lunchboxes trend reflects China's unstable employment and economic situation.
The Texas state legislature has passed a bipartisan bill combating forced organ harvesting through an insurance policy protocol and preventing Texas residents from unknowingly engaging in organ tourism. Forced organ harvesting, a practice attributed to the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, is the involuntary removal of organs from living humans. In legislation, it is defined as the removal of one or more organs from a living person using coercion, abduction, deception, fraud, or abuse of power or a position of vulnerability. In 2006, evidence indicated that most victims were Falun Gong practitioners and other prisoners of conscience. Senate Bill 1040, signed into law by Texas Governor Greg Abbott on June 18, 2023, bans organ transplant insurance coverage in countries that commit state-sanctioned forced organ harvesting. The law specifically targets the CCP's multi-billion-dollar organ transplant industry. Senate Bill 1040's legislative intent directly addresses the forced organ harvesting of spiritual adherents and minority groups. It stated, "It is inherent of the legislator that this act bring awareness to China's state-sanctioned practice of forced organ harvesting of prisoners of conscience and other vulnerable persons, including Falun Gong practitioners, Uyghur Muslims, Tibetan Buddhists, and house church Christians." The act will take effect from September 1st, 2023. As the pioneer of this new legislative policy to block forced organ harvesting, Texas takes an approach that may serve as a catalyst for other medical centers around the U.S. Levi Browd, executive director of the Falun Dafa Information Center, said, "This legislation will have an immediate impact across Texas, ensuring Americans will not be complicit in this horrific atrocity. As more states and other countries follow this example, we should be able to snuff out illicit organ tourism to China." Notably, the Texas Medical Center, TMC, is the largest medical complex in the world, with 61 institutions and over 10 million patients on an average per year. Medical experts in the TMC system, such as Dr. Howard Mansour, have condemned organ tourism and transplant surgeons involved in organ harvesting in China. Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister Andrei Rudenko traveled to Beijing to talk with representatives of the Chinese Communist Party regime on international issues. Rudenko's trip to China comes as the Putin government faces threats from the rebellion of Yevgeny Prigozhin's Wagner forces. On June 25th, Rudenko discussed with China's Foreign Minister Xing. China's foreign ministry said the two shared international and regional issues of common concern. According to Reuters, the CCP has yet to publicly comment on the rebellion, which Putin says threatens Russia's very existence. Prominent Chinese military expert and TV commentator Song Zhongping told Reuters, China will support Russia while stressing no interference of its internal affairs. China media has closely watched Wagner's rebellion without making any official comments. Meanwhile, the Global Times, a CCP mouthpiece, criticized Western media. The Global Times said that the Western media has exaggerated Prigozhin's mutiny and created an illusion that Russia has many internal contradictions and the building is collapsing. The CCP propaganda tool says that this attack by Western media is another attempt to undermine unity in Russian society. Since the beginning of this year, the Chinese finance department of Xi Jinping's regime has undergone constant purging and more than 60 officials were fired in 6 months. Analysts believe Xi Jinping's faction is reshaping the model of power and interest in China's economic and financial sectors. The CCP central banks are the main purgation areas. According to incomplete statistics, up to now, the CCP's Discipline Inspection Department has established 622 investigation projects in the bank sector and filed and detained 28 people. Nearly half the officials in the financial system were dismissed within a half a year. Political commentator Li Yanming told Daiji Yuan on June 20th, when China's economy was in crisis, Xi Jinping's faction accelerated the process of controlling the financial system and continued to clean the system's pockets, which signals a new shuffling in the map of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP's political and economic interests. On June 15th, Xi published an article in Shuishi magazine saying removing serious political dangers hidden within the party is the focus of his anti-corruption campaign. After taking power in 2012, Xi Jinping's position was constantly threatened by opponents. Moreover, the incident of Wang Lijun carrying many secret documents about high-ranking CCP officials and fleeing into the U.S. consulate to ask for protection also pushed Xi into a coup d'etat crisis. Li Yangming said that in the struggle with Jiang Zemin's faction, Xi Jinping's faction gained the upper hand, and the Wang Lijun incident directly led to the downfall of Jiang's faction officials Bo Xilai, Zhao Yongkang, Guo Boxing, and Xu Kaihao. The year 2012 was a watershed for the sudden change in the CCP's political structure. The following year, Xi Jinping launched a large-scale anti-corruption campaign within the party, mainly targeting the Shanghai faction led by Jiang Zemin and Zhang Xinghang. The anti-corruption campaign is an ongoing in-depth cleansing of Jiang and Zhang's remnants in the party, various authorities, military, and other CCP sectors. In October 2022, Xiao Pei, Deputy Secretary of the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection, revealed that over the past 10 years, the CCP's Disciplinary Inspection Department reviewed and investigated 207,000 top officials in CCP units at all levels and handled more than 4,648 million cases. There are 553 middle-level cadres, including CCP leaders, including deputy state-level leaders. Li Yangming believes the continuous cleansing of the financial system reflects that the battle between Xi and Jiang Zemin and other powerful forces for the money bag is still increasingly tense. The CCP's financial system has long been controlled by the Shanghai faction. It is not only inseparable from the real estate and stock market crisis, but also closely intertwined with the internal struggles among the CCP's top leaders, he said. Recently, the number of COVID-19 patients in China has been steadily changing. Hu Yang, the deputy chief physician at Shanghai Pulmonary Hospital, published an article saying that the proportion of COVID patients with mild symptoms no longer increased, but that of patients with moderate and severe infections has begun to rise. Besides, there have been reports of new sequelae of COVID appearing, such as the increasing occurrence of shingles. Professor Liu Hangzhou, director of the Shenzhen Third People's Hospital, said, "After more than 3 years, the virus has been constantly mutating, and the room for the increased pathogenicity and infectivity has been very limited. In fact, in the past 3 years, almost every new mutated virus will spread widely every few months, but since the emergence of XBB at the end of last year, there have been no major mutation." Liu Hangzhou believes the future trend of COVID will be gradient infection. For example, out of 100 people, 5% could be reinfected after 3 to 4 months of infection, 10% will be reinfected after 5 to 6 months, and the previous 5% will not be reinfected at this time. An article has shown that after infection, many people suffer from new sequelae of COVID. Second infected patients may have sequelae of the respiratory, cardiovascular, neurological, digestive, and immune systems. Many people claim that they have shingles on their bodies shortly after being infected with COVID and turn negative. Shingles, also known as the cancer that never dies, is a common skin disease with symptoms and painful complications that worsen with age. Many Weibo netizens commented, "Why do more and more people get shingles after COVID? I don't understand why I got shingles. It's annoying. My health was already weak after COVID, and now I have shingles again." Some netizens expressed physical discomfort. "Doctor, I have a rash on my body. It's really painful when eating, sleeping, or even breathing." Chang Jiangmin, director of the Department of Dermatology at Beijing Hospital and a professor at Beijing Medical University, saw an increase in the number of patients with shingles during the COVID outbreak. The number of people with shingles after first contracting COVID has also increased. On June 11th, after 42 days of silence, China's CDC suddenly announced that there were 2,777 new severe cases and 164 deaths of COVID in May. However, the outside world still doubts the accuracy of China's data. Recently, there has been a boom in the random leftover lunchboxes trend in many cities in China. It means people can buy random lunchboxes cheaply from some restaurants. This popular trend among young Chinese people highlights the weak state of China's economy and its worrisome employment situation. According to some unemployed youths, these random leftover lunchboxes became their primary food source when they were the poorest. However, the quality monitoring this type of food is almost zero. The random leftover lunchboxes are not the leftovers of diners, but foods that are about to expire or have not been sold out during the day in restaurants. They have a very short shelf life and must be eaten within 2 to 3 days. The random lunchboxes are almost grilled food, snacks, and sushi. Most are sold for 1/3 of the original price before the restaurant closes. The WeChat account Hufang Kaijing ID Daqiangfan said that after observing some restaurants, he found the people who come to buy this food are mainly young. Random leftover lunchboxes have become popular on Chinese social networks, with some people sharing their experiences buying this type of food. One netizen said, different restaurants will put food on the shelf at different times, often at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. The price is divided into many levels, such as 5 yuan, 11 yuan, 19 yuan, 35 yuan. After purchase, some restaurants allow you to pick up any at a time, while others will only allow a specific time, and they won't refund when the food is out of stock. Basically, it depends on your luck. The Random Leftover Lunchboxes platform began to expand from China's first-class cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, etc. Despite being so popular due to its large quantity and low cost, the food safety issue of the Random Leftover Lunchboxes is still quite worrisome. A restaurant employee revealed that the food quality of these lunchboxes is currently not being monitored. According to reports, investigations on Chinese platforms such as Boss, Zhipin, and Chichacha have found that restaurants providing random leftover lunchboxes have only a small number of employees, so it is nearly impossible to monitor these lunchboxes' food quality. This trend has highlighted the weakness of China's economy and the unemployment problem of the young people of China. In May, the unemployment rate of young people aged 16 to 24 in China reached 20.8%, the highest level in 5 years. Recently, at a job fair organized by Henan University of Economics and Law, many employers recruited positions such as waiters, chefs, receptionists, and dishwashers with the lowest salary of only about $280. This surprises people. How can students of the best University of Economics and Law in Henan be devalued to such an extent? Zhao, a Beijing commentator, told RFA, Foxconn is slowly withdrawing, large private companies have also left. Without investment confidence, all small and medium business owners are lying flat. The number of graduates with a master's degree in Beijing this year far outstrips university students, but they also face employment problems and cannot find work. A generation has ended. After the Beijing government lifted COVID control measures, China's economic activity remained weak. People's pessimistic expectations about the future led to caution when buying food. Besides, the youth unemployment rate after the pandemic is also increasing. The above factors lead to the fact that even if the Chinese government applies loosening monetary policies such as lowering interest rates, the economy recovery effect will not be evident.